your first name again? Andrew Genosi. I knew there was a J in there, but good. Andrew, excellent. And let me just see. I'm going to leave that for now and leave that. And you know what I'd like to try is, Andrew, do you have your laptop with you? Would you be able to join the class, and then we're going to use your camera to focus on you, okay? And that way we can actually, I can cut to you and talk to you, and yeah, this will be cool. So this is going to work. We're just about ready to start, everyone. I'm just doing a final little bit of teching, given what's here in the global classroom. I always have to adjust a little bit, but Andrew Genosi and I are going to do a little experimenting. He is going to be on the notes. He's over there right now. But what I'm going to do is, the new thing is, we're going to see him join the class shortly from his computer, his laptop, and his camera will have him at the board. You'll see in a moment, and this will look really good in the recording. And you know, to connect, you know how to connect on the, yeah, good. Okay, so he's going to be, there's going to be a little window that is going to be Andrew. And so let me just make sure everything is good. I'm here. The view is good. Let's see who's also here. Excellent. Everybody's already putting their names into the live chat, so you know the drill. And Wei Jen, who often sits over here in the corner, is here. Good, Wei Jen. Dewash is here. Shantae, Harmanpreet, Danveer, Jacob, Shona, and others may join us online. And in terms of who's here in person today, we have Fatima, we have Tisan, and we have Andrew. And of course, there is me, and I'm going to be at the podium as usual. So, welcome everybody to our 10th Global Leader class of the winter 2025 semester. And we are now moving towards some really big classes that are coming, particularly next week, that I need to get you prepared for. We're going to have about 4 guests up here, as well as one from Hawaii who will be joining us, Durham College graduate, on the big board. Our president is going to be here, and others. So that's going to be probably the biggest class of the semester in terms of guests. But there could be other guests coming in the final weeks as well. It just depends on whether I feel we've covered the content or not. I want to make sure that we cover the critical content and then bring the guests in a little bit afterwards. But next week is definitely a class that we need to prepare for. So that's what I want to do today, largely, is go through the class page that has been prepared for that event. It's just behind me. I just had a meeting with the organizers of the event, from marketing, as well as with the development office here, 2 people, Heather Bullman and Sally Hillis, who've been putting this class together, inviting the guests and organizing this campus-wide. So I was working with them this morning just to do some final touches. We're going to do a little bit more tech testing with them. Look at that. Way to go, Andrew. I see Andrew now, so we'll get to that in a moment, but we'll make some good notes today. And we can use your microphone as well, right? So there are all sorts of workarounds. And it's great that Andrew's here, because I have noticed from your comments and your kind of the way you contribute that you're on top of things. So are you in computer program at? No, I used to be. I'm now in radio broadcast. Oh, you're in radio? Okay, good. Well, I have a long background in that, by the way, so we can talk about that sometime. Great. So I'll get over to Andrew in a moment and make sure that that's looking good, and his camera angle and everything is working, and that way we can interact with the note taker and have him full screen. So there's a lot we need to do today to get set up for next week. And as well, there's some feedback that I want to also give you. There is as well some student work, discussion post 9 that I'd like to read out loud. And if there's anything else, I will check with that. For example, already Wei Jen has put a comment into the live chat. So let me just go there. Yep, Wei Jen, I have checked DC Connect, couldn't find the rubric. Yeah, exactly. So I need to talk about the second assignment. There's a reason for that, Wei Jen. I haven't posted it yet. I haven't actually put together the final instructions for the second assignment or confirmed the due date because of next week's class, that I need to make sure that was all set up properly, because the second assignment will be done around that class. Okay, so let's just make sure that everything is working technically with Andrew as I go over there. So I'm going to try right now. Here we go. I have control over this, and I will click here, and you will see the board. Now, let's make sure we have the proper angle, and good, you can see it behind me. So let's make this look really, oh, we can't, because we're going to have to raise the camera and okay, you need the pen? Yep. So let's do this. And we want to make sure that they can hear you as well when you speak. So let's start with the first slide, okay? Andrew's going to go over and just make a new slide. And let's call this Global Leader Wednesday, November the 12th, 2025. And we'll call this on board right now. So please put your name there, and then Fatima and Tissan should go over and put their names there. So right now, Shona, for example, or Shantae, can you clearly see Andrew writing? You should be able to. Nice. And if you look at the YouTube live stream, we see the, it looks even better. Nice. You'll see, oh, here, Andrew, so you can see what's up on YouTube. The windows are horizontal, okay? So when you're talking, you can actually, if you talk out and a little bit down, it almost looks like you're talking to the people online as opposed to at the side, okay? Great. So nice. That's going to work as well. Let's test and see how Andrew's microphone is working. Okay, so Andrew, why don't you just say a few words to everybody and see if it's working properly?
Yeah, no worries. So my laptop's here, so I'm gonna test speaking over here, see if that works. Should work okay, maybe, hopefully.
How does that sound? Shona, did you hear Andrew clearly as he spoke? Nice.
Loud and
okay.
Clear. Excellent.
And just to double check, okay, because I know I've asked students before to say, can you hear? And they say loud and clear. And then when I go look at the recording, actually, it wasn't so loud and clear. It was quite distant. Pankaj, when you say loud and clear, does Andrew sound like me in terms of the audio quality?
Dolby speakers.
You know, podcasty. Oh, even better. Good. He has a better microphone. Excellent. Okay, so this is going to work. Good work, Andrew. Is there anything you want to say to anybody before we get started?
Not really. Let's get this class going. Let's
get this class going. Okay, excellent. So let me bring back the me over here, and I can control this. And let's bring back the YouTube so I can see that here. And then finally, oh yeah, that's the issue. Hold on, because I keep losing this. And I don't want to lose that. Anyways, it's we'll get this Toria live stream and here, okay? So come on in, okay? Is it Loma? Loma, yeah, come on in, Loma. Please put your name over on the board with Andrew. And good. Okay. Shona, when you say an online microphone, that's a positive thing, right? Meaning it's nice and clear?
It doesn't matter, I don't think.
Okay. Tech has to work. And I cannot ever stress enough how important it is that we take the time to deal with the complexity of tech in the world today. You may be used to this already, but I do not need to stress to any of you in the world today, particularly for someone in a position of leadership, if you are not agile with tech and you don't have what's called digital agency, you don't have the competence with tech, then you will not be able to succeed in the world today. But it's a really difficult thing. Let's not forget, all of us, including me, and I probably said this a million times and I will say it again, you have to understand you are in the generation. You are the first generation that is dealing with the merging of human and machine in a way that no other generation has dealt with in the past. And if you don't understand how to responsibly use tech well, then the world that you're going to be living in is going to be a very cold and dark place. And it will be ruled by a lot of mechanical engineers who don't have a lot of humanity. I'm not saying that engineers are without humanity. They are, many of them. But there are many engineers out there today, like, for example, Elon Musk and others in the big data world. All they care about is giving you better technology, and they couldn't care less about the type of human being you become. They want tech in your lives, and they want to make a lot of money from it. And we need to deal with that and make sure that the humanity is there. I will give you one small example of this. I've been spending quite a bit of time over the last days, my wife and I, watching interviews with Jensen Huang. Do any of you know who Jensen Huang is?
Yeah.
Andrew?
NVIDIA's CEO.
Do you know NVIDIA? Do you know? Well, why don't let's have fun with this for a moment, okay? How many of you watch late night talk shows sometimes, with Stephen Colbert or others where there's a host and then there's usually a musician or somebody that the host talks to? I grew up with these kinds of things. So Andrew is going to be the person, he's like the musician, but he's doing the notes. I'm going to talk to him. We're going to go back and forth a little bit, okay, about this, about Jensen Huang. So let me see if I can control this. So here we go. Andrew, can you tell? Come on in, guys. Can you tell the class who is Jensen Huang?
Jensen Huang.
Jensen Huang. Jensen Huang.
He's the CEO of NVIDIA, one of the founders of NVIDIA. He's a co-founder.
And
back in the late '90s, they made graphics computer chips for
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Keep going.
For for computers or whatever. They are one of the two major players. I guess three now because Intel makes graphics computer chips now. But GPUs are graphics processing units. Every computer has one. The thing that makes your display work is your GPU, whether it be powerful or not. NVIDIA makes the most powerful GPUs on the planet, and that is one of the reasons why they are the most valuable company now in the Fortune 500 and S&P 500, all the major players. It's kind of incredible because in the last year and a half, it went from a company that basically nerds knew, like myself, to a whole, now everybody knows his name. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of information to help with a bit more context on there, and we're going to make some notes about this. Okay, so first, let me just check. Was that a fairly Shona? Was that a fairly seamless cut, if you will, from Andrew to me in terms of audio and video? It almost feels a bit like television. We're going back and forth. Yes. Good. Okay. Remember, I was a television producer and director for many years and produced shows, so I know what I'm doing. I'm essentially being a director now, a studio director, handling the camera positions at the same time as I'm teaching. Anyways, good. So NVIDIA is the most profitable and successful company on planet Earth right now. It has been valued at $5 trillion. So we're talking about the biggest company now on the planet. Jensen Huang is the founder and CEO of this company. He's an American. Originally, his family's from Taiwan. Why am I mentioning him and about this idea of engineers and tech and humanity? Well, in the interviews that he has been doing, where he's been talking about this incredible microchip that now he provides to all the big data companies in the world, Apple, and any other big companies, you name them, they're using the chips that NVIDIA makes. They design these chips, and they're manufactured in Taiwan at a place called the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. It's such a big company in Taiwan that it's, in fact, part of the country's economic growth. It's a huge part of Taiwan's future. This relationship between Taiwan and the United States through NVIDIA is very, very important for the future of technology. And Jensen knows this. I'll get to my point in 2 seconds. Talk about a global leader. Very, very important. You will see him interviewed all over. He's become a kind of a rock star now with his black leather jacket, you know, talking about NVIDIA and how well it's doing. The GPU that Andrew just said is a graphics processing unit that was used in the early days of video games back in the 90s when video games were becoming really big. And what Jensen saw at NVIDIA was that this GPU is a very flexible chip that could be used for artificial intelligence too, for machine learning too. And so he's pivoted his company now from graphics to becoming the leader of chip supply for the artificial intelligence future. Very, very important. If you listen to him being interviewed, this is a person who's become a very serious Trump supporter, so much so that the United States government, through Donald Trump, is investing in NVIDIA's future. This is a person who wants to make a lot of money. Lots. And he's a very skillful engineer, very smart. But does he care about what kind of human being is being created, about what's happening to people? He never really talks about that. And that's what I mean about something just to put you on notice for. Maybe it's just my opinion. A good global leader is somebody who really is smart with tech, but more than that, is a human being and who wants to create even better human beings, doesn't want to be creating mechanical human beings for the future who have AI running their lives. But there are a lot of people today in engineering who only care about giving you more tech and making sure that you are using the tech for everything so that they can make a lot of money from it. Be aware of that. That's all I'm saying. Okay? So let's move on and make sure that we're getting ready for next week. Now, we've got excellent. Everybody is on the board there. It's Daniel. Oh, you're Alex. Okay, I thought Daniel. Okay, so you're Alexander. Great. So we've got a few more in person. Is there anything that anyone would like to say before we address first some kind of current event in the world that's taking place that we need to kind of explore together a bit before we start preparing for the big part of the class today? So give some thought. Oh, this just keeps, I keep losing this, and I'll get the hang of this in a moment. Let me just bring it back so you can see everything here. Okay, I keep losing my configuration. Okay, I won't touch it for now. Is there anything that is happening on the planet today in the news that has happened since we had our last class last week that you think we should explore a little bit together in terms of trying to understand it? Tisan. We'll go to Andrew, okay? Tisan, yeah. Okay, we were talking about that last week. Let's go to make another slide, okay? And we'll go current. today we'll do current events, not just current event. And Tisan has mentioned the hurricane in Jamaica, and we actually touched on it in my afternoon class last week, Humanity's Destiny. We didn't in Global Leader. So let's address this for a moment, okay? First of all, Tisan, why is this event something that I should care about, and Fatima should care about, and Andrew should care about, or somebody living in Seoul, South Korea should care about?
Mostly because it's a hurricane, it's a natural disaster. It could happen to any one of us, and we're all human. I don't think it's like, oh, it's not my country, I shouldn't care. I think it's more of like, these are our fellow, let's say, either if you know what artists in Jamaica or your friends or family. I don't think it's about a country, but more as people, as one, in a sense.
Okay, that's the beginning, okay? That we need to understand it as people as one. Now, there's more here that we need to unpack. Let me just help you a little bit, because one of the things I want to do whenever we talk about current events is try and provide you with the context for why this event matters for us as explorers of global leadership. And one of the things that is really important in this class is that you familiarize yourself with some of the challenging issues of our time. Challenging global issues of our time. So, Tisan, what would be the challenging issue of our time that seems to be the kind of iceberg underneath the tip? The tip is the hurricane. You know, something's happened with weather, but there's like an iceberg here underneath that is the big challenging issue that we can't quite see, but it's there. What is that challenging issue, would you say?
I think for the people, it would be the structural elements that happen and rebuilding together as a country would be under.
Okay, let's keep going. Okay, rebuilding, maybe rebuilding together. Yes, climate change, right? Yeah. Now, do we know for a fact that this extreme weather event in Jamaica is related to climate change? Can we say that for a fact? We probably could if we really unpack this, but your first name again, it's
Miriam.
Oh, Miriam. Okay, thanks, Miriam. It's just so many students this semester. Miriam has said climate change is the challenging issue, and she thinks, without actually delving into this and trying to decipher exactly what role climate change has, what makes you think that it just might be related to this bigger issue?
Just the habits as a whole, like the the category that it was, like the amount of damage that it did, and this isn't the first or last like that we've seen. Like I don't know, like you said, not with
Yes.
delving too deep into it. Like it's kind of hard to see how it fits in.
Yes.
I just know it does. I don't know how to.
Well, I can help you, and I could give you some science a little bit, but it's good that your instinct is going in that direction, okay, Miriam? And it's interesting, Tisan, you talked about the rebuilding that has to be done, and you're not wrong about that. But that's not quite the challenging issue I'm talking about. But when it comes to rebuilding after a natural disaster, often the destruction today is so great that one country can't do it themselves, and the rest of the world has to help them with the rebuilding. So that's where we might see a global leadership dimension come in, which is who in Canada or who in another country is going to step up and try and assist the people in Jamaica who require financial assistance to rebuild. But that's something else. But the challenging issue that I'm trying to at least help you to understand is climate change. And Andrew, I'm going to go over there and show this, and I'll just be a little bit smoother with this. While Andrew's writing this, we'll continue to talk, okay? This should be cool because everybody's going to see Andrew writing while we talk. Andrew wrote climate change in big letters, big block letters, as we were beginning to discuss this. Fatima or Alexander, what is one of the classic scientific dimensions of climate change? One thing that always happens with climate change nowadays that many countries have been going through that tells us it's probably climate change related, whether it's in Canada with wildfires or whether we have floods, mudslides, melting of glaciers, and what's some kind of weather event that happens that often is a, what do you think, Alexander? There's a term for it. I'll help you with this, okay? Anyone want to try a term? Sasha? Global warming is the underlying issue, the big issue that is affecting the planet. The planet is warming and has been for many decades. But the term I'm looking for is extreme weather event. Extreme weather event.
Can you expand on it? Because like when I hear that, and I hate doing this because I
Yes.
feel like I'm challenging you, but I'm simply
It's-
asking for miles. Okay?
It's
When you say an extreme weather event, I feel as though that's still like surface. Okay, it's an extreme weather event, but like what?
Okay.
Like, what's the
It's a great question, okay? And for a global leader, somebody who's going into this field, needing to be familiar with challenging issues of our time, this is a hugely challenging issue, climate change, and understanding the weather patterns. So it's a good question, Sasha. You need to know. Let's take another example, okay? Have any of you, we'll let Andrew speak to this, okay? Go ahead.
So compared, it's weird because I'm 27, I don't know how old you are, but 21. So you've only lived in a world where every single year you've had 1 in 100 year storm, whatever, right? I've lived through it, I've seen it. We don't know what it was like before that. We don't know, we have zero idea what it was like.
We only know
now. Compared to before, compared to the data we don't know, this weather is completely different.
Yeah, there's also like today compared to one storm that I will remember forever. It was back in 2014
Oh, the
when
ice
the
storm?
movie Frozen came out. I went to
Okay.
the theaters to see it, and all the trees, everything was covered with these ice balls. It was beautiful, and it was so coincidental that the movie Frozen had came out. But that was the last year that I had ever seen a storm so extreme.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So ever since then, I've noticed, the winter just keeps coming later and later into the year, but then it lasts longer into the next year, and the spring comes later.
Yeah.
But the idea of an extreme weather event is not just a storm. It's a sudden event that's very intense, that lasts for a short period and causes a lot of damage. This is what is going on in the Philippines right now, for example, with the typhoons that they've been getting. They've been getting a series of very intense typhoons, more than they've ever dealt with, that hit them, the typhoon stops, it comes back, and it's even more intense. So it's short bursts of very intense rainfall, like suddenly a country or city will get all of the rainfall that it normally gets in a year, they'll get it in 2 days. And that causes all sorts of flooding and mudslides and other residual impact. That is a very clear, scientifically studied dimension of climate change that we see a lot. A wildfire that breaks out suddenly is because the weather has been so dry in, let's say, British Columbia, very, very dry, and it can be easily, the wood has become very dry in the woods, and a tiny bit of spark from a bit of lightning can begin a wildfire that can that can jump. The embers are jumping from tree to tree and area to area so fast now because the wind's blowing fast, because there's no rain. And so everything is accelerated. Everything is faster and more intense.
And see, the way that I had taken the what do you call that? Like the category you put there, event, extreme weather events. The way I took it was, okay, maybe is this like a continuous thing that continues happening? No, it's something that happens and creates a long-term effect. It's not a continuous event that continues.
No, exactly. The event causes the damage that creates the long-term effect. The event stops, but then there's all the damage from the mudslide, all the damage from the flood, the tsunami, that destroys buildings, and then the hurricane in Jamaica. The hurricane is over now, right? In Jamaica, it's the rebuilding, and the devastation and the destruction is massive.
But like some things that I'll think about, like right now, that just comes to my head is, yes, this was a catastrophic event and it's caused a lot of problems. But who's to say that the outcome won't be a positive thing? Like, oh, this hurricane like made us see certain issues we didn't even know existed before, and now we have an even better airport and it's more sustainable, more maintainable. It's safer. Like.
Okay, I'm going to give Sasha a little challenge right now because we're going to get more sophisticated with tech today. Just because we want to be able to see her, and I don't want to have to keep asking her to come up here. Do you have your laptop with you? And your laptop has a camera and a mic? Well, I'm going to suggest right now that you take a table over there and you put your laptop here and you direct the camera towards the couches. And what I will be able to do now is when anybody speaks here, we can sort of hear them on my microphone. That's fine. But I can then do what I'm doing with Andrew. I can cut to the shot of all of you and everybody can see Sasha. Okay, that's okay. Just trying to make this a little more. Good question. Now I have to confess something, okay? My laptop, for some reason, the settings no longer are able to connect to the cameras here. Normally, when I would walk in here, I would be using all the cameras through my laptop. I have to get my computer reformatted. I've been working with tech, and I thought it was a whole bunch of other things. I've been testing with them. We've now determined something has happened with my laptop, and I have to get my laptop reformatted to be able to connect to everything again. That's going to take me too long to do. I'm going to do it at winter break. So now I have to rely on others. Okay? But that's exactly what we should be doing. You can't connect to the cameras. Andrew can't. Only I can through my. So let's watch what happens when we're going to create a new window up there. Excellent. Emmanuel is here because I was going to tell you about a class that we're going to do in the next 2 weeks as well about Romeo Dallaire. So I wanted to tell you more about that. Okay, so let's make sure we've got this connected. I'll let her work on that. I do need to get to our big main event in a moment, which is next week's class, and take you through it. But let's see. Are we connected here? Yeah, look. Okay, so here we go. There we go. Okay, everybody. So essentially, Shona, as I speak, you can still hear me clearly, but you now see Sasha and Miriam and Tissan and Loma and everyone else, right? You should see that. Good. And they do on YouTube, and it's a nice angle. You see how it looks on YouTube up here, just so you can see in the end the final result. You see where the windows are? They're horizontal down there, and nice. And then we can go over to Andrew on the board here if we need to, and then we come back to Lon over here, and now it could be better. Okay, so let me just bring this back, and we're going to talk about just to get this. I keep losing this, and I can't. Hold on. I'm not going to touch this after this because it's configuration. And first I do this, then I do this, then I do this, and then we're good. Okay. I'm going to move on, but I just want to make sure. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say about our analysis a little bit of this event that Tassan mentioned, which is that there probably is a climate change dimension to the hurricane in Jamaica if we look into this, because extreme weather events are happening more and more frequently. And this is just one more extreme weather event. And Andrew, go ahead.
Was the event the COP30 in Brazil?
What's that?
Was the event the COP30 in Brazil?
Excellent. He's really on top of things. Actually, there is a bigger event, but we're going to stay with Tissan and the hurricane in Jamaica. But as a matter of fact, and I would let you explain this, Andrew, but I'm going to keep the camera over here for now. Just it's too many things I have to do. I just want to focus on the content. Right now in Brazil, there is a conference going on, an international conference on climate change. And it is called the COP something 30. I think it's the 30th year or so. And COP stands for Conference on Parties. It's an international UN-sponsored organization. And the parties are all the countries that are part of this conference, the Conference of Parties, not on parties, Conference of Parties. And right now in Brazil, as we speak, there is the annual Conference of Parties of all nations, except for the United States, that doesn't want to be a part of this, that is trying to deal with climate change. And so why don't we write that down, Andrew? Yeah, that's a final point that really drives home, I think, just how significant this challenging issue is. Tissan has mentioned a hurricane. There's a conference of climate change going on in Brazil, the annual conference. They, of course, have talked about the hurricane there, but Sasha has her hand up. Go ahead and let me come over to Sasha for a second, just because we've done all of this, but I know, Sasha, go ahead, okay? And then they'll be able to hear you. Just.
Something that's been like stirring in my mind as we go on with this, obviously I can't pin one thing as the main issue for why the hurricane in Jamaica, because obviously there are a lot of natural things that happen in the world that some understand, I don't understand.
Yes.
But something that my mom always talks about, that I hear scientists talk about, people talk about that have studied climate change, is the carbon emissions and how they have affected a lot of the global climate issues everywhere. So I don't see that as being a possibility, an issue in Jamaica.
Well, let me help you to understand what climate change is, okay? Just for a moment, unless I'd rather the student do this, and let's do it this way, okay? Let's do it this way. I'm going to bring this back here for a second. Is there anybody here right now, Andrew's on the notes, who would like to come up to the podium and explain to Sasha exactly what is climate change and why carbon emissions are significant and are connected very likely to what happened in Jamaica? I'll explain it, but does anybody want to try before I do it? It's okay, but I think it would help for us to be very. You want to try, Emmanuel? Yeah. Come on up, okay? Come on and give it a try. All right? You have courage. You've demonstrated courage, and well, let's try, okay? Emmanuel is going to come up and explain to the best of his knowledge climate change, okay? And let me bring this here so you don't see everybody yourself. It's just hold on. I keep losing this, so
it's just
okay. Come here, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
So climate change, right?
Yeah.
Climate change. You need to do a bit of geography, but then if I'm to like sum it up, I was actually very bad at geography. But what I can remember is that there are different processes, things of which you need to understand, things like evaporation, condensation, and all these things. So when smoke either contaminated or either the sun hits the ground and the flowers and all these things, and
Yes.
water is or maybe water on the surface of the sea and all these things, it heats up, and then when water is heated, we see smoke, right? Then when the smoke goes up, it's what causes the rain and all these things. But then I'll give you an example of like when you're boiling water.
Steam. You mean steam?
Yeah, when
Not
you
smoke. Steam.
yeah.
Steam. Yeah, steam.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Yeah,
it's
it's okay.
simply
Good, yeah,
condensation,
okay,
all right?
yeah.
So now for these industrial whatevers, they produce very bad toxic smoke, all right? So this steam that no, I mean the evaporation that happens normally from plants, trees, and grass and all the ground, that's not contaminated, all right? That's just water which is constantly moving because water doesn't change. There is a specific amount of water on Earth that doesn't change.
Okay, let me
It's-
stop for a second. We're paddling down a long creek here, and we're getting lost. Is he making okay? Because but I'm only doing this to help you, okay?
Yeah,
But you're
I-
explaining a lot of stuff, but you're not answering her question.
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going
Okay.
to.
So one of the thing with is communication. Okay. So let's we're going to take a moment. Global leader, stop for a minute. Communication. Okay. What's your question? What do you want to know? And I want to make sure when he answers, he's being as brief as possible and as clear as possible. Okay. So what's your question? Do carbon emissions relate to climate change? Okay. So go ahead and answer that. Do carbon emissions, but try and answer it I'm going to give you a challenge. 30 seconds.
Yes. See, maybe
exactly.
what
He's a good. Okay, now you've got 25 seconds left. Okay.
so what I wanted to do is
yeah.
just to lay the point home.
Okay.
But then I'll just
Yeah.
So when that happens, is toxic air is emitted and then it's rised up into the clouds. Now we're there, it can form very different things depending on how heavy a cloud gets. So when good air is thingy into the clouds, all right, that is why we receive rain, all right. But then the level of intoxication of the air in the atmosphere results into different things, even until it results to volcanoes. I mean, no, not volcanoes, earthquakes.
Yes.
It really connects to literally everything. And then if the air is released here, the impact is not going to happen mostly.
Okay, let me say.
Exactly. It's
You
going
asked about carbon emissions.
it's going to happen. It's going to happen somewhere else.
Where are the carbon? So where
so
are the
yeah, it
carbon
happens.
emissions coming from?
Sorry?
Where are the carbon emissions coming from?
So
Where are these carbon emissions coming from?
yeah.
You want to come up? Go, Emmanuel, go ahead. Thank you. Come on up for a second, okay? Part of global leader is being able to come up on your toes and speak about something in a way that makes sense without your phone for help. It comes from your great brain, your great memory. Okay, so go ahead and it's what's your name again?
Hamza.
Oh, that's Hamza. Okay, Hamza. So explain a bit more about, for example, we want to know what is a carbon emission. You asked. Okay. So what is a carbon emission?
Okay, I'm not like a pro at understanding like climate change and stuff,
Yeah.
but carbon emission is basically how like heat is basically always rising, right? And basically it impacts the ozone layer, which kind of impacts all sorts of different countries, where some countries can get really, really cold.
Yes.
And some countries can get really, really hot.
Yeah.
And basically that can cause like famines.
You
and
want to
stuff
come
like
in
that.
too?
Yeah.
Okay, Andrew wants to come in.
in.
It's a start. This is excellent. This is.
I can't do this.
It's okay. You want to go back? Okay. You want to go back? Okay. Good. You came up. You came up. Okay. This is leadership. You don't sit. You come up. This is good. So Andrew, tell first, what is a carbon emission?
So very basically, a carbon emission just refers to CO2, which is the little
Get a little closer so they can hear you.
little,
Yeah.
little molecule, carbon dioxide. It's lighter than air. It rises to the top of the atmosphere and stays there for a very long time. I think 50,000 years is its half-life or something like that. So the half-life of something is basically the time until half of its length of its life is over, and at that point usually it either turns into something else or remains it. It's a very long scientific complex way of explaining it's going to be there for a while. It goes down the periodic table. So carbon will probably become something heavier, or lighter than it. So for example,
Too
uranium.
much science.
Yeah.
You got to explain it in clear, plain English that everybody. This is hard communication.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm doing this for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you as a leader has to stand up and deal with complex issues
Yeah.
and be able to explain them to your team in a way that they understand. And you don't get too scientifically nerdy with it. Okay.
Anyway, yeah. So it stays there for a very long.
Okay.
Yeah, stays there for a very long time.
Fine.
Humans create it. The data shows if you correlate the graphs of our carbon emissions, how long we've been emitting carbon to the temperature rise on the planet, they correlate. Not to say correlation is causation, and that's the reason scientists won't say that is a definite cause, but the data shows that yes, it's more than probably what's happening.
So would you say, sorry, I have some questions.
Go on.
Yeah.
So would you say that given that the life of it is like, you said 2,000 years, something like that, is it just building and building and building? So it's coming down. So what's going to happen when it?
Yeah, well, it's just, that's the thing. Atmosphere is thick, like kilometers thick, and it would take thousands of years worth of carbon emissions to actually 100 years or so.
No law. Okay, Andrew, thank you. Okay, I'll give you the thumbnail. This is excellent. I just want to say when you ask how long, it's more like 250 years. 250 years ago, 30 seconds, humans started creating machines with what's called the internal combustion engine. And to run that engine, they needed fuel. Oil, gas, coal. That fuel was burned, as it still is. When you put gas into your car, it's burned to create the ignition. The burning of those fuels, Sasha, the burning of those fuels to run our machines has created a lot more carbon emissions going into the atmosphere. Carbon comes from the burning of that fuel. That's because of human industrial development. That carbon sits up there in the atmosphere and doesn't move. And it just holds on to the sun's heat like a greenhouse. It just sits there. We've put all this heat into the atmosphere, and it's just sitting there from the carbon coming from our burning of our fuel.
So we're basically just cooking ourselves.
Well, it's been often said that that's what we're doing. We're cooking ourselves on planet Earth. Yeah. But if you want to be a really interesting global leader and go into a great field in environment, you could go into a field of carbon extraction. There are all sorts of entrepreneurs out there right now who are developing ways to get the carbon back from out there and put it into something, like literally drain the carbon out of the atmosphere that we put there and put it somewhere where it's safe. That's a new field. It's very interesting, carbon extraction. Exactly.
Find a way to use it to fuel cars, but it comes out as something good, like not bad.
That's the mind, Sasha.
I can't do that.
That's no, yet you will. The mind that we're talking about, the mind that you all have and that really good leaders have today, is they believe in this idea called zero waste. Do you know what that means, Sasha? Zero waste? Exactly. Every piece of garbage, anything that, put into the atmosphere, put into an ocean, put onto land as garbage, gets repurposed and recycled and reused for something else that's good for us. And so there's no more garbage. It's just all this cycle of things moving through. That's a wonderful way of thinking about life on Earth, is that we just repurpose. So we never create this residual effect, which is what climate change is. It's the carbon coming from our burning of fossil fuels. We got to get rid of that carbon that we put there. And we have to get rid of all that garbage that we put everywhere in the world and use it for something, right? Does that make sense? It's zero waste. It's called the zero waste world. I really believe in that. I think it's a great, Alexander? Yeah.
I'm just remembering something. There's this guy on Instagram. I think he's found this way to turn plastic
Into what?
It's a few, yeah.
Yeah, that's the mind. Is it Alex or Alexander? Do you prefer? Alex. That's exactly, and as a matter of fact, that's a great transition to next week's class. I got to get there, okay? All this stuff behind me. Sasha, hold your question for a second, okay? Just because I'm concerned. There's a big class next week that we need to get ready for, and I want to show you who's coming. And I touched on it last week, but okay. So let's move on from current event. Excellent discussion. Great that you came up, all of you. Sasha, as always, a really good, engaged mind in big things. Yeah. No, it's natural. It's there, okay? And it's nice to see others have joined us. So now we have Rhea is here, everybody in the cosmos. We have Javon Litchmore, I think it is, Javon and Rhea. Manuel has joined us. We have Hamza, and we also have another student behind Loma who's here. So the spaceship is filling up with a few more passengers here today. Okay, next week. Now, we are going to have a lot of guests sitting here next week live. The ones who were here right at the beginning of the class, this will be repeated for you, but I need to explain it now to everybody who were not here. And then we're going to talk about the guests, and we need to get ready for this. And I also need you to register for this event, and I'll take you to the site for it as well. So behind me, right now, is the link to what's called the class page. And I'm going to put this into the live chat for everybody right now. So here we go for all of you there online. Please go to the page that I just put in there for you. And I will get a little better at this today if this would just stay here. And there we go. Okay. So let me just make sure. Shona, have you clicked on it yet? I just want to make sure everybody online in the cosmos is looking at this page. Excellent. Asen? Oh, I don't know if he's back. Shante, great. Good. So you should see DC Talks Alumni Series from Education to Entrepreneur. Excellent. So in the cosmos, just start scrolling through that page. Okay, that's the class page for next week's class. And what do I mean by class page? Well, actually, there is a website or a little portal for the global classroom. And I can actually show it to you right here because this is what happens. You can enter Durham College. Actually, all you have to do is enter global classroom, Durham College, and this is what you will come to. There it is, the Rotary Global Classroom. And this is an earlier version done a couple of years ago, but you see me sitting with people and others. And then as you scroll through this page, the Rotary, go ahead.
Kristen's not a student, not a class.
Who?
Oh, never mind.
Doesn't matter. There's lots of students who come into this class. They're not even students here. I don't care as long as they're here. Oh, no. So on the Rotary Global Classroom site, which is the website for this class, we had been building this, and then it's had to take kind of the sideline for a moment, just haven't had time. But we had a whole site we were building, things going on in here. And then there's a page called the classes page. And right now it's not functioning too well, but essentially every event that's held in this room, big event, global class, has its own class page. It's like a TED event with the page for that event. So what you're looking at right now is the class page for next week's class here that should be on the website right now, but isn't yet. It's been made by the people in marketing and others. So this is going to be up on the class page, up on the website next week. And anyways, so this is a preview of this page. And essentially, what is going to happen is that we are going to celebrate the global graduateness, if you will, of Durham College people. Whenever we have this thing called DC Talks, we bring in guests, either live or from any part of the world. Next week, we'll have someone from Hawaii that will be joining us. And we tend to have people who are Durham College graduates who are succeeding here in Oshawa, Canada, anywhere in the world, they've become a sort of a good representation of a successful global graduate to inspire you, to basically bring them into this forum so you can interact with them and see how they've been succeeding and getting their projects and getting good jobs and becoming a global graduate who's able to work in different parts of the world and adapt and be ready for whatever they're dealing with. So next week, we're going to have 5 guests, if you can believe it. There's going to be 4 coming live here. And I'll go through the guests because they're all here and the background is here and everything. There will be 2 sort of co-hosts. 2 deans are going to be at the end with questions. I'm going to be sort of overseeing this and helping them from here. And then 1 guest is going to join us from Hawaii. So we're going to have this big gathering of successful Durham College graduates talking about how they've transitioned from education to becoming an entrepreneur. And we're doing that during Global Entrepreneur Week, which is next week. If you didn't know, it's next week. So our president will be here to introduce as well. The whole campus has been invited, but we'll see if we can fill the space. But the critical people, as always in the events, are my Global Leader students. So when I create this class with marketing and Sally Hillis in the development office, we always have it on Wednesday mornings during my Global Leader class. So you guys just come and sit front and center on the couches here, and you're going to be able to interact with some amazing people, and you're going to learn a lot. So I want to make sure that you're ready for this, that you know who the people are, that we can maybe talk about some questions. I want to make sure that all the people in the cosmos are aware of this, including all the ones in the distant solar system, the asynchronous students. If you can come in person to be here for this, I highly, highly recommend it, mostly because I'm going to be offering an optional second assignment based on this class. So anybody who comes in person will be able to, for marks, do their second assignment on that class. And it will be a really good learning experience for you not only to be here in person, but to be reflecting on what happened in your assignment. Okay, so there are things that have to be explained to you about this event, but it's essentially, it's a big gathering of smart Durham College graduates coming together to help the current Durham College students. Does that make sense? Okay. So I just want to check for a moment. In the cosmos right now, please light up the live chat right now with a series of yeses by saying, yes, Lon, I just heard what you just said about this event. I need you to hear this. And I'm concerned some of you may be vaping right now. You may be somewhere else. You may be walking your dog. I have no idea where you are. So I don't even know but let's see who heard this, because this is critical stuff. These are great guests and they're leaders. So did you just, Cosmos, did you all just hear what I just said? Light it up. Yeah, keep it going. Good. Okay. Cosmos, how many of you are going to come in person next week? Off the top of your head right now. You don't have to, but you can come online and I'll give you that choice. Okay. Excellent. So Austin, good. Kirsten, good. Wage, nice, nice. Because what I really want to do, I'll feel really good as a professor if we can fill up a lot of this with my students, because I really feel your benefit. And the college wants that too. People will be coming from elsewhere in the college, but they're not my students. There might be people from Ontario Tech coming. That's great, but they're not my students. They're not Durham College students. So I'm offering this to all of my 221 students this semester in all the courses, but it's the global leader students who are critical. Okay, good. Okay, so before we go to the next step, which is register for this event, and I'll take you the Eventbrite registration that has been prepared, let's go through the guests. Okay, let's scroll through. Okay, let's see. So here's the class page, and why don't we go over to YouTube? Oh, that's the camera, but it can still be shooting. We'll leave it for that now because I've lost YouTube here, but I can see YouTube here, so we're okay. About this class, DC Talks alumni series from education to entrepreneur. The alumni, of course, are Durham College graduates, the alumni who are succeeding. Topic: DC Talks alumni series from education to entrepreneur. The classmates, well, these are the guests. You know, Brittany Charlton, Christina Italia, Claire Vision, Nicole Moraes, Paul Fritsch. Oh man, these names are so global. Shannon Day, Nicholson, Zenon Issel, wonderful names. These are all either guests or deans that will be here. The host, me here, my students. Lon Appleby, founder of the Global Class and professor. Ariel Sully, Associate Vice President, Advancement and Alumni Relations. There'll be like high chairs here. She'll be there, sitting in a high chair, and there'll be two guests here. And then Christina Italia, Executive Dean, Faculty of Business and Information Technology, Faculty of Media, Art and Design. She's going to be over here, and there'll be two guests. So there's going to be like 5 or 6 people laid out here. Okay. And then there's going to be Zenon coming in from Hawaii. Join us on November the 19th for the next DC Talks Alumni Series event featuring a panel of 5 Durham College graduates who have found success starting their own business. This is you in a few years. Moderators Ariel Sully and Christina Italia will lead a conversation about the challenges and rewards of entrepreneurship. These innovators share one thing in common. They leveraged their DC education to turn bold ideas into thriving ventures. This special event celebrates the entrepreneurial spirit that thrives beyond the classroom and the lasting connection between educators, business, and community. During this event, the DC Alumni Association, DCAA, will also be launching the Alumni Entrepreneur Toolkit, a collection of resources for graduates to tap into to support their business growth, including hiring opportunities, exclusive partnerships, and savings on small business insurance. Thank you to our sponsor, Clear Vision, for supporting this event and our students. The DC Talks Alumni Series is hosted by the DCAA in collaboration with Lon Appleby's Global Leader Class. That's you. My name's at the beginning because I'm the professor. You. I don't want to... I want people to wake up right now, and particularly in the cosmos. This event is to create new global leaders. So we're bringing in younger global leaders in the real world to help the emerging global leaders who are still in the classroom. That's you. I can't stress how important this event is for you to be able to come and interact, because I'd like to see all of you, when you graduate, do well. That's what education's about, right? It's about what happens when you leave, ultimately. The DC Alumni Talks DC series is hosted by DC and collaboration with Lon Appleby's Global Leader Class at DC and aims to inspire current students, facilitating network among alumni and highlight success stories. This event is also a part of Do It in Durham Entrepreneurship Week, Durham Region's celebration of entrepreneurship held each November during Global Entrepreneurship Week. So let's look at the guests. Okay. Any questions yet? Go through the guests. Excellent. Okay. Brittany Charlton, law clerk, advanced class of 2016. Brittany Charlton is a Forbes 30 under 30 entrepreneur and founder of Chocolate Labs, or Chocovit Lab, or maybe, no, Chocovit Labs. I'm reading this for the first time, guys, okay? So forgive me if I mess up on pronunciation. In 2017, Brittany started O Foods, a line of allergen-friendly, vegan, and gluten-free snacks inspired by her own food allergy. What started as a personal mission became a national brand, landing on shelves in Walmart, Costco, and 1,000 plus retail doors across Canada. In 2025, she launched Chocovit Labs, a food tech company developing cocoa-free chocolate that looks, tastes, and performs like traditional chocolate without using a single cocoa bean. As cocoa prices skyrocket and supply chain strain, Chocovit Labs helps global food brands future-proof their chocolate products through scalable, sustainable alternatives. This is part of the zero waste. This is the future. These people who are creative and sustainable, they're you, but a few years ahead. Let's keep going. So she'll be here. Brittany will be here. And you can talk to her during the event. And then after the event, you're going to have time to interact with her. And quite often, they will even give their emails out. So, guys, networking. Networking, you know what that means, right? Talk to them. Don't be a little quiet thing sitting there if you want to really ask questions. Paul Fritsch, horticulture, food and farming, class of 2023. After a 20-year career in software technology, Paul decided to follow a lifelong passion for agriculture and returned to college. While at DC, he participated in the student work program where he gained invaluable experience in his role as community and edible gardens ambassador, representing the Barrett Center of Innovation in Sustainable Urban Agriculture. During his last semester, he founded Urban Farm Solutions, an urban agriculture company with a mission to help create holistic communities that are food sovereign and connected to the health of their own environments by transforming underutilized urban green spaces into productive and beautiful market gardens. Much of the food grown can be donated to local food banks and care organizations. Yeah, this is humanity. And let's make money. Let's not forget. You want to make money. I know that. We all do. And Jensen Huang at NVIDIA is making a crapload of money, as is Elon Musk. But would they do anything like this? Not in a lifetime. Not in a lifetime. But you can make money. Maybe not a huge amount, but you can do good. Yes. $5 trillion it's now valued at. Yeah, NVIDIA. Anyways, okay. Zenon Issel. This is the gentleman that's coming from Hawaii. Zenon is a mechanical engineer turned entrepreneur with a diverse career spanning engineering, business development, and brand leadership across industries and continents. After graduating from Durham College, Zenon spent over 2 decades with Solar Turbines, where he designed turbo machinery products and managed a team supporting billions in annual revenue. Today, Zenon calls Hawaii home, where he blends his technical background with his entrepreneurial drive. Together with his wife, Cindy, he co-founded Surf Fur, a performance outwear brand that pioneered a new product category in the water sports industry. For nearly 20 years, Surf Fur has provided warmth, safety, and protection to ocean enthusiasts and professionals worldwide, including members of the military and special operations. You see, it's possible that Tisan could go back to Jamaica, or she may stay here, or she may go somewhere else. And Emmanuel may go back to Kigali, or stay here, or go somewhere else. And who knows where Ray and Javon are going to end up. A global graduate can go anywhere in the world. A global graduate can go anywhere and figure out a way to succeed. Yeah, make money, but ultimately, well, you'll have to wrestle with that at some point, Emmanuel. Do you really want to make money at the expense of? Exactly. This is the hard balance. You know, I know you want to make a lot of money, and I completely understand that. But the problem with making a lot of money, Emmanuel, is you just keep wanting more.
Is there a problem with that?
No, except that what happens?
How you get it? If you get it in
Who's
the
to
right
say
way,
the more money he gets, the more money he's gonna get back, you know?
exactly.
Will you give back if you made a lot?
Of course.
He represents that.
Especially-
Yeah.
Modern day
Especially,
economy.
especially from where it comes from.
I mean, starting out.
No, I'm not going to say don't. I have to educate you a little bit on humanity here, but I understand the entrepreneurial drive to make a lot of money, but then it gets pretty cold after. Okay. I'll try to help you think about making a lot of money, but you go out and make it, and I won't be there to hold your hand in any way, shape, or form. Okay. We have two more here. I'll let you read about those two on your own. I think you get a sense of what's going to happen here next week and the kinds of guests that are going to be here. Of course, this will be live on YouTube. It'll be recorded. You can watch this later as well and rewind and check things, but nothing will beat the experience of being here in person and interacting. If you would like to bring any friends or others, feel free. You know, we can fill up this room. But the best will be that you come and you get your seats here on the couches, okay? And you're close to the people here. So I need to take you to the registration site, okay? And we can do that together. So here for everybody right now, I'm going to put the Eventbrite link for you in the live chat. So here we go, Cosmos. Go ahead, everybody in the Cosmos, and please click on that link and register. And for those of you here, I need to get you the link. And what's the fastest way to give you, if you go to the class, if you actually go to, just join the class the way Andrew did. And then once you're in the class, you will have access to the live chat. Okay? And then click on the live chat. That should work. So to go to the class, go to the DC, our DC Connect page, you know, where it says November the 12th class on DC Connect. Go to the link and let's make sure, because I should see you all in a moment in this video conference. And I'm just going to plug this in. And let's get everybody registered, okay? So I'll just, please go ahead and click on the Eventbrite link above and register for the event next week. Okay? Then we're getting really organized. Find. Good. Asan, you did it. Way to go. Are you? It looks like you're awake today, Asan. Last week, if I remember, I think you slept through half the class, didn't you? Right? You're awake? Okay. Yeah, you're good. Okay. Good. Miriam's joined. Sasha's joined. So you're in. I can see that. And let me bring this Let's see what's happening over on YouTube for a second. Live. Yeah, there we are. So that's looking good on YouTube. Great. So I've got my stream back. Good. Okay. So we should have now. Good, Kirsten. Way to go. And actually, for all of you here who've joined, could you just put Sasha and Miriam, others, when you've registered, just put in the live chat that you've registered. Thanks. Then you're good, Loma? You all registered? Good. Okay. Way to go. If you have any trouble, let's take the time. Nice, Sasha. Done. Okay. And what else? I want to bring that back, don't I? But I know this has been an issue all day. So let's just put that here for now, okay? Put that there and put that here. Nice. There we go. So there's the Eventbrite page behind me. Excellent. Okay, and then what else should we do? Yes, I know what we're going to do. We have about 10 minutes left, and I just want to address something about Romeo Dallaire, and we're going to end the class. Okay. Good. So everybody's registered? You good? Javon's good. Rhea, Alex, Fatima, Sasha, Miriam, Hamza, Tassan, Loma, and what's your name again? Harsh. Yeah, Harsh, Andrew, great. Emmanuel, and then everybody online. Okay, I'd like to spend just about 10 minutes, and then we'll end about 5 minutes early addressing some of the other things that are coming in the future. And I'll save some of the things I wanted to do to another class. Two things. First, who was it that mentioned Tupac as a possible case study? Because this is kind of interesting. Who was it that I had it in my notes? Tupac. Because I would like to, I'm thinking of future classes now. Anybody mention Tupac? Why did, and because we have Bob Marley, and we're going to be coming back to Bob Marley in more detail to do a, whole case study with him. So I would say let's put Tupac on the shelf, so to speak, for this semester, since we have enough with Bob Marley that we're going to be addressing. Okay. So that's coming. We have our case study with Bob Marley. We did a little bit with Mary Barra as well, and Bob Marley, but we have yet to really look at Bob Marley. But there's somebody else that I really want to do a full class on in terms of a global leader case study that I've done before, but I actually think it could be very powerful this semester. So I had a little moment of inspiration yesterday I want to tell you about. During the Remembrance Day ceremonies yesterday, it was Remembrance Day. We were honoring the fallen and the two world wars. I was thinking a lot about that day, and usually I have a poppy. It's been falling off a lot, and I just decided not to wear one this year. But I was thinking, I really want to deal with war and conflict in this class in terms of a global leader who has been there and dealt with this. And I've done that before with Romeo Dallaire, and it was a very powerful class. But I wasn't planning on doing it again this semester. But then I thought, with him in this class and what he said at the beginning, it would be such a missed opportunity if we did not have a class on the general who went into his country and tried to bring peace and failed. And we've touched on this very early in the semester when you told us that you're from Rwanda and you knew all about Romeo Dallaire. But yesterday, as I was thinking about this, I went and started to do a little bit more digging about Romeo Dallaire. And as it happened, he was recently in Rwanda. And he was interviewed by a journalist with Rwanda National Television. And I hadn't seen that before. Here was Romeo, an older man now, back in the place where he had been, that had been the hell on earth for him, in which he failed and that precipitated a terrible series of depressive episodes that ended in his suicide attempts, his PTSD, and eventually Romeo Dallaire now finding a new cause for the world as a leader in mental health. So I was beginning to think, well, you know, I said, my students need to see this interview that was done with Rwanda TV. And then I went back and was looking at the class with Emmanuel, and I thought, well, we got to do this class. And so we're going to do a class where we're going to really look into the story of Romeo Dallaire, because it is a real story of attempted global leadership through the United Nations. And his failure there is very instructive. But then we need to bring Emmanuel in a little bit more to help us to understand what really happened there in Rwanda. It was a genocide. And it may be that there are things that you know, things you've seen, things that have been told to you, or things you've personally witnessed that the student should hear about in terms of when we fail at making peace. When war and conflict are so deep in a country or in us as humans, that the attempt to resolve this is so difficult, and yet it was resolved in the end. It was resolved. This genocide did end because of their president, Paul Kagame, who was a young man at that time. And his story is fascinating too as a global leader. And he is now one of the longest serving presidents of an African country, right? So when Emmanuel said to us, Paul Kagame could be a very good example of a global leader, I had made a mental note of that. But now I think it's time, when we have a class where we look at very closely that whole situation in Rwanda in the 1990s, with one person coming in, trying to solve it. He's a big global leader from the United Nations and fails. And then we have another young Ugandan Rwandan, right? Because he grew up in Uganda, right? Paul Kagame. But he's a bit of a migrant himself, Paul Kagame, who comes back to Rwanda and creates a fighting force and eventually brings peace and some prosperity to the country. So there's some great examples here of leadership, global leadership in the context of war and conflict, with a student who's from that very place. I think this could be a powerful class to help you to really understand something about war, the legacy of war, and our attempt to bring peace, and who in the end are the leaders that bring peace. What does it take to come into a situation of such conflict and war and bring peace? How did Paul Kagame do it? And listening to Romeo Dallaire talk about Paul Kagame was very interesting, because he actually said in this interview with Rwandan television that Kagame was somebody who could be trusted at that moment, that he kept his word about something. And I'm not sure what that is, but it's a fascinating story of global leadership in a place of war, with great human suffering. And in the end, Finally, when it comes to global leadership too, I'm going to come back to Jensen Wang, or Wong again. I started the class with him today. Some of you may not have been here. He's the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, the most profitable company in the world right now, valued at $5 trillion, the maker of all the microchips for artificial intelligence now. He was recently interviewed and he was asked about leadership. Now, as you know, I love engineers and I love brilliance, but I don't like people who seem to lose their connection to humanity the more and more successful they become and the wealthier they become. And we've seen this with Elon Musk. And I think we're seeing this with Jensen Wang. But he was asked, what's the secret of your success? And he said, I don't really think it comes down to intelligence. It comes down to character. He said, in the people who work for me, I drive them very hard. I expect excellence. I expect them to suffer. Because out of suffering comes character. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Romeo Dallaire is a great example of character. Do you know what he did after his failure in Rwanda? He came back to Canada. He was profoundly depressed. If you read his book, Shake Hands with the Devil, watch the movie Hotel Rwanda that was made about him, or the documentary as well, you will come to understand something about his mental health difficulties. But then he showed remarkable character and turned himself around to become an advocate for mental health and post-traumatic stress disorder, speaking openly as no combat general has ever done. He had been a general when he was hired to lead the peacekeeping force in Rwanda. He had been a combat general, meaning he had organized armies of men to fight. When you're at that level, you don't talk about PTSD. You're expected to just suck it up. But he then, after this failure, instead of just disappearing, he turned around, wrote a book, very, very candidly, honestly, about his difficulties, and has now become a kind of spokesperson for the difficulties that men and women in combat can face and how we need to help them as human beings when they come home from war, that they are not robots, they're not mechanical creatures. They are human beings, and they suffer when they come back from war. We should be there for them. So he showed remarkable character in turning his suffering into something. That is great leadership. And I think that there's so much in this story, and then there's the Paul Kagame story. So we just need to explore this together, and I'd like to dedicate a full class to that. Does that make sense? Is it all good for everybody? So I think we'll do that, not, of course, next week, but the following week. And maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll invite Romeo Dallaire to come to the class at the end of the semester. It may be too short notice, but
Yeah, I hope so.
well, then maybe we'll write him a letter together. We've had many good guests. Okay, so that's what's coming for all of you. And the second assignment instructions I will post. Everybody's registered on Eventbrite. Does anybody have any questions? Everybody's good? Okay, have a great week. Okay, I'll be here. Thank you, Andrew. Just leave the notes. And hope to see you all in the Cosmos here in person next week. If not, you can still be in the Cosmos. But if you come in person, you're really going to benefit. Take care.